What's going on, y'all? Marley Cross 316 back with another comic book flashback, and we are now looking at the Amazing Spider-Man issue number 39. This issue came out in August of 1966, and as we look at the cover for today, we see none other than the return of the maniacal, the evil Green Goblin, and we see right here a helpless Spider-Man, and on top of that, Spider-Man has been unmasked. We have a lot of surprises for you here in this issue as we not only see the unmasking of Spider-Man, but the Green Goblin as well. That's right, we're going to find out the identity of the Green Goblin in this issue. And if you remember from last issue, I said that in issue number 38 that Steve Ditko, that was his last issue. And so today we are introduced to a new artist to the cast, and that is Jazzy Johnny Romita. John Romita here. He is going to take Steve Ditko's place with drawing Spider-Man for these issues, and I have to say that I do enjoy John Romita's art just a little bit more than Steve Ditko's, but nothing less. I mean, I love Steve Ditko's artwork. He was the co-creator of Spider-Man, but John Romita, I do believe I have a little bit more of a bias towards his artwork. I think it's a little bit better. But let's go ahead and get started today. As always, this is brought to you by Stan Lee, who wrote the issue, and we now have John Romita doing the art. We have inks by Mickey DeMeo. He's also new to the cast of people contributing to this issue. And then we have Artie Simek on the lettering page. So let's go ahead and get started with the story today. I mean, just a fantastic story. So don't go away. Go ahead, give this video a like, and let's go ahead and get started. So we start out the issue here, and we still don't know exactly who the Green Goblin is, but we know that for a long time he hasn't fought Spider-Man. I think it's been since issue number 27 since we haven't seen the Green Goblin. So the Green Goblin's been out of hiding. You know, he's been in hiding. He's not been in public, and so he's finally come to his senses that he wants to defeat Spider-Man once for all. That Spider-Man has been a plague in his side. So we come to find out that Green Goblin's going to make a plan here that he wants to figure out exactly how he's going to defeat Spider-Man, and that plan is to try to figure out Spider-Man's secret identity. No one knows about Spider-Man's identity. No one has ever found out yet, but the Green Goblin in this issue is going to do that. He's going to find out who Spider-Man's identity is so that he can finally humble Spider-Man and defeat him. So we see a little bit of the new gadgets the Green Goblin has been cooking up here. He has new Goblin grenades. He's upgraded his glider, and now he's going to do his mission. He's going to go try to find the secret identity of Spider-Man. So let's go ahead and look what Spider-Man's up to in this issue. And the main thing we need to focus on with Spider-Man here is that he has a cold. As even though Peter Parker is a superhero, he is Spider-Man, he is still human, and humans get colds. Humans get sick. So Peter Parker visits the doctor. He runs into, it looks like a janitor here, and he's like, "Oh, what are you doing in this? You can't be in that maintenance room." And so, "Oh, I thought this was just a waiting room." And so this guy's looking all puzzled here. He visits the doctor. The doctor says, "Yep, you got a full-blown cold there. I'm going to give you some medicine here that you need to take." And then he also levels with Peter Parker. It tells Peter Parker that, "Hey, look, I've been looking after Aunt May, and you need to really be cautious with her. Don't allow her to get shocked. There should be no more sudden shocks with her because next big setback could be fatal. It could prove fatal." So Peter Parker, more than ever now, understands that he cannot reveal his secret identity to his aunt because that shock could kill her. And so this is what's going to be on Peter Parker's mind throughout the entire day at school. Of course, right when his classmates are trying to be friendly with him for once, of course, Peter Parker is deep in thought. And we have Gwen Stacy, Flash Thompson. They're all, why for one time he's all happy as a puppy, he's friendly as a puppy, but the next day he might be distant and cold. We also see Harry Osborn and Norman Osborn. We recall from last issue that Norman Osborn had set up all these crooks to attack Spider-Man so that if they could defeat him, then Norman Osborn would pay the underworld $20,000. That didn't work out last issue. And so you see how cold and, just heartless Norman Osborn can be to his own son. And that's something to think about in this issue. Why is Norman Osborn even cold to his own son? So we see a depressed Harry Osborn here. And for the first time ever, we see Peter Parker and Harry Osborn actually having a heart-to-heart conversation. Harry Osborn pretty much apologizes to Peter Parker for being such a pest, to Peter Parker for being such a bully. And so finally, it looks like Peter Parker and Harry Osborn are on the same terms, and Gwen Stacy is actually noticing things like, hey, maybe if Peter Parker becomes friends with Harry Osborn, then maybe we could be friends as well. So that is definitely something she's looking up to. Hopefully, she's hoping Peter Parker will join the group of friends that she's friends with. So let's go ahead and look back on what's going on with Spider-Man here. Spider-Man's still battling a cold. He's swinging up in the air, doing his usual swinging, and then he comes to find out that there's a holdup on a rooftop. But this is no ordinary holdup. This is actually a planned holdup. These men, these crooks, seem to not be surprised when Spider-Man pretty much attacks these guys. And Spider-Man notices right off the bat that these guys act like they were trained. These are trained men, and they're pretty much attacking Spider-Man for a reason. So it's a setup. I come to find out that this is one big setup. A lot of great action scenes right here from John Romita. I have to say, this is some awesome artwork here. Awesome battle scenes here. And we have a bunch of people watching, and you could just imagine all these people seeing this fantastic battle between these crooks and Spider-Man's just licking them clean. I mean, these guys just have no chance at all against Spider-Man and his super strength here. This guy comes up from behind, doesn't work, and Spider-Man realizes that, hey, what if something happens to me? What if I get injured? That's going to cause Aunt May to get worried, and that could be the fatal setback that he's worried about. And all of a sudden, this guy throws a gas pellet at Spider-Man, and he's like, here's the gimmick. And right from above the air, we see the Green Goblin. He's looking through binoculars. He's watching the whole thing up in the air. And you would think, well, Spider-Man's going to find the Green Goblin. He's going to see him up in the air, but he doesn't. And we come to find out that this gas that these men had thrown on Spider-Man, it seems to have not done anything to him, but it actually did. It actually caused his spider sense to be weakened to the point that he doesn't even detect the Green Goblin nearby. So Spider-Man swings out. He allows the cops to collect these crooks, and while he changes back to Peter Parker, lo and behold, we see just how the Green Goblin is going to find out about Spider-Man's secret identity. So he finally sees Spider-Man unmasked for the first time, and he comes to find out that he is just a teenager. Now, he doesn't know Peter Parker. He doesn't know his name. He doesn't know Spider-Man's secret identity or his civilian identity yet. He doesn't know the name, but he's going to find out pretty soon as he sees Peter Parker go into the Daily Bugle. And he also, the entire time while he is being followed, Peter Parker deep down within feels like he has a sudden danger, that there's an imminent danger around him, and he doesn't exactly know why. And he recalls how he had that same type of feeling when he saw how Professor Strom died in issue number 37. And he's still wondering about that whole mystery behind Professor Strom's death and that gunman in the window, and how that all really connects to Norman Osborn. We still don't know exactly why Norman Osborn tried to kill Professor Strom. But we're going to find all this out as this issue continues to unfold. We see not only Peter Parker and Harry Osborn had a heart-to-heart, but also Ned Leeds and Peter Parker. So everything starts to look pretty good for Peter Parker's life. Looks like a lot of people are finally starting to come around to Peter Parker. He's starting to make some new friendships with people. So that looks to be good. We see J. Jonah Jameson here. He finally pays Peter Parker the cash that he needs. It's only half of what he really needs, but it's still a pretty decent check, and he's pretty happy about it. And we see Green Goblin here. He finally figures out the name of the civilian identity of Spider-Man by listening in on this shotgun mic. So he hears that his name is Peter Parker. So now not only has the Green Goblin found out the secret identity of Spider-Man, but now he knows the name. So this is pretty dangerous, y'all. This is pretty dangerous. The Green Goblin knows who Spider-Man is. So he follows Peter Parker back to his house in Forest Hills, and finally we see the confrontation between Peter Parker and the Green Goblin. And this, folks, is just awesome. Awesome storytelling once again by Stan Lee. He's like, how? How in the world does he know who I am? Because he's like, there you are, Parker. You are Spider-Man. I'm like, holy crap, how do you know who I am? How can he know? And he's in total shock. Peter Parker is in total shock. He is in total surprise here. The Green Goblin has pretty much won this battle, y'all. I mean, Peter Parker, he doesn't have his web shooters on. He is defenseless against the Green Goblin. And on top of that, they are fighting right outside Aunt May's house. And this is bad, y'all. I mean, if Aunt May finds out the secret identity of Spider-Man and she finds that it's Peter Parker, her own nephew, that could cause a fatal attack to her for her health. But the good thing is Aunt May doesn't realize what's going on outside. Peter Parker tries his sudden best moves to try to attack. And, I mean, Green Goblin, he's trying to kill Peter Parker. I mean, we see that stun blast right there. He's trying to kill Peter Parker. Again, Peter Parker is defenseless. He is helpless here. He tries his one best move, tries to leap onto the Green Goblin, but to no avail. You see the Green Goblin use more of his tricks up his sleeve, new weapons. I mean, Green Goblin was prepared for this. So the Green Goblin here, he ties up Peter Parker here and carries him back to his old hideout. And this is where the action and the story continues to unfold here. We're going to find out who the Green Goblin is for the first time ever. And so here we go. We see the unmasking of the Green Goblin. And the Green Goblin is none other than Harry Osborn's dad. That's right, Norman Osborn. Norman Osborn this entire time has been the Green Goblin. And for the first time, Peter Parker realizes this. And so the big revelation here in this story is that the Green Goblin is Norman Osborn. Wow. And so that's how we end this issue, y'all. Hope you liked it. The big surprises that awaited this issue. And so go ahead, subscribe now if you have not. And as always, I will see you next time as we continue what's going to happen as Peter Parker is helpless against the power of the Green Goblin.